Hello guys and welcome back to McCallum Productions. Before we get this video underway, we're so close to hitting 1000 subscribers, so it'd be greatly appreciated if you guys could hit that big red subscribe button, turn notifications on and enjoy the video.
Hello guys and welcome back to McCallum Productions Podcast. We're here in Loop Maniac Studios in Dunfermline today for our hat-trick show. We'd just like to say a big thank you to Liam for having us down for our third show here. If you're a band or an artist looking to rehearse or record, be sure to get in touch with Loop Maniac Dunfermline. So today we're joined by Thurso's finest, Craig Wares and Robert McLaughlin. How are we doing, boys?
How's it going?
Not too bad, yeah.
Thanks for joining us, boys. So just to get started, my first question for you, Craig, is what was your sort of first introduction to music, like your earliest memory?
I mean, I've always had music in my life, I think, as everyone else had. My dad is a big fan of Rod Stewart, Tom Jones, Rolling Stones, so I've always had pretty good influences. And even my grandparents were like Johnny Cash and stuff. I've always been surrounded by decent music. But I started playing myself when I was about 13. I started learning the guitar. And that was the birth of the Craig Wares solo career.
So was it sort of your parents and your grandparents that sort of got you introduced to music?
Yeah, definitely. I'd say just sort of listening to, like I say, Rolling Stones and stuff was a huge influence for me, and it gave me a good taste in music from the start. I mean, I was never particularly into kind of pop stuff, but as I was growing up, it was quite early 2000s, so you're talking Blink-182 and stuff like that, which is another good influence, but I've always kind of been influenced by older music, I'd say.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, definitely classic rock and roll and things like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Nice one. So what was your first sort of memory of playing then? Obviously you're saying about starting a sort of solo career. What was the first?
Well, I mean, I've always done solos and stuff like that in school, which was really fun, in the school choir. But in terms of actually gigging and stuff myself, it was I used to play at a youth club, which was really fun. I used to have like a regular gig night on a Friday night.
Right, yeah.
I used to come along, give my best Liam Gallagher impression, a bit of stereophonics. But yeah, try my best to not sound awful.
That's always the main thing.
Yeah.
So obviously you're saying it was a sort of a regular gig on a Friday. Obviously living in Thurso, one of the most northern places in Scotland, what is the music scene like up there?
It's music scene. It's decent. Like, there's a few good original bands. I mean, there's a lot of sort of cover artists and that just sort of do pub circuits, club circuits and stuff. A lot of DJs. But in terms of original bands and stuff, we do have a few good. Forgetting the Future, Open Plan, Pure Grief. They're doing really well just now.
It's a class band name.
Yeah,
Pure Grief.
Yeah. Oh man, their music fits the name perfectly. They're absolutely brilliant, but pretty heavy stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not too much going on up there, which is, I mean, why I try to bring bands up. Try and, when I lived there, tried to get things going up there. Like, I used to do the Friday night things at the youth club. I used to use the local cafe and sort of do all day sessions and things, just have people coming in and out for free, just to give bands and solo artists like a platform, because for people sort of quite young, like at the time I was maybe 17 or 18, there wasn't really anywhere to go to play music during the day or even at night, especially if you weren't old enough to play in pubs or get into pubs. So I kind of looked at that and thought, right, we can do sort of all day sessions, and we can have in a cafe where there's still people there anyway, families coming in and out. It's quite a sociable thing. And I don't really think there'd be much going before that. In terms of, I'm trying not to blow on. I'm trying not to make myself sound amazing here, but like, there wasn't really much else going on before that.
So I don't want to jump ahead a bit, mate,
that's cool.
in your questions, but when did the changeover between you being a solo artist and then wanting to start booking and promoting happen, like, and why?
Quite quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I sort of realised that I would go into every show having not practiced, didn't have a set list ready. I love singing and stuff, and I love playing, but I realised quite quickly that I didn't want to be a musician. I enjoyed way more putting on a show and giving other people a platform to perform. So I probably put on my first show when I was like 16 in one of the local cafes. It was quite ambitious. It was like a 12 in the afternoon to like 9 at night, or just sort of back to back people. I just borrowed some equipment off a friend, didn't have a clue what I was doing with most of the equipment, and just booked a whole load of people, a load of my friends, and yeah.
That's some haul though for a first gig. That's a long set for a long gig anyway.
And did you perform in that set as well?
I did. Yeah. I don't think my granny would have been happy if I hadn't have, if she'd have come down all day and hadn't seen me sing once. So yeah, I thought I had to, but I still I love when those posters pop up in my Facebook memories and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a nice throwback how bad those posters were.
Made on Word or PowerPoint.
Pretty much. Yeah. It's so horrendous. But it's nice. Like, I see that a lot of those bands and that are still going, and a lot of the solo artists are still kicking about as well. But God, I totally forgot about part of my musical history. The first band I was in was Forgetting the Future, or a band from home.
Which you forgot.
Well, I did forget. So it was when the guys were, because they're a couple of years younger than me, so we were quite young, and we just started doing covers and playing anything we could locally. And then I kind of took a back seat, and they started writing their own music, which was amazing, because I was like, I'm useless at songwriting, and they've just kind of taken off from there.
You're still going?
Still going, yeah. Still going. I can't remember the last time I saw them, to be honest. They played Edinburgh a while ago. Yeah. The singer Robbie knocked one of my teeth out that night, which was really nice of him.
How did you manage that?
I was just sitting drinking alcohol. Sorry, mum. And sitting with a beer bottle, and he turned round, smacked beer bottle, tooth gone. You know. And then, that was the last time I saw them live, I think.
So I'm the only one in this lineup that hasn't had my teeth knocked out.
I think you are the only one, yeah. But obviously you're saying about putting on gigs in Thurso and things like that, and you started getting sort of Central Belt artists to come up and play in Mr. C's in Thurso as well. What was the sort of motivation behind that to get bands to come up?
Like I say, it's a lot of sort of cover artists and the same bands playing the kind of pub circuit and stuff like that, which is, it's fine, but I feel like in a small town like that, when you kind of put a different artist in front of someone, they will take their music in, whereas they might not sort of go to a gig if they're in a city or that. But if you bring the music to them, they'll actually broaden their horizons a little bit and go, you know what, I really enjoyed that, and maybe then check them out and stuff, because there's not many travelling artists that come up to Thurso that aren't kind of brought in by like myself or like Simon at Mr. C's.
That'll explain why bands like Neon Waltz don't play in Thurso. You know, it's like they sort of they like move about quite. I know they're quite big now, but I'm assuming they'll have all played Mr. C's and things like that to start with.
I don't even think Mr. C's was a thing when they started out. It used to be Newmarket, and the person who ran the Newmarket, she used to be fantastic for bringing bands up. She had like people like Jake Bugg and stuff playing there. Like before he was big, like, you know, it's such a tiny little room. But I think after Newmarket, it was just kind of not much going on. And then Simon took over Mr. C's and then started bringing in a few bands. Scotty at Top Joe's, he's quite good for bringing artists up and stuff too. But I definitely think, like I say, once you kind of bring the music to the people in Thurso, they do enjoy it.
Right, yeah.
But there's not a lot of people who would go out their way maybe to try and find some new music and stuff that they're not used to.
So would you say sort of when it is bands travelling about sort of Scotland and UK, would you say Inverness is the sort of highest up they'll go?
Yeah, probably. I think they just I don't think most people know that there's actually more than just a little village north of Inverness. But I mean, even Inverness, trying to get some people to go to Inverness is quite tough, because I mean, it's 2 hours from Edinburgh, essentially 2 hours from Aberdeen, and they kind of look at it and go, oh God. And you're like, oh, do you want to come up to Thurso as well? Like, so is that just north of Inverness? I'm like, yeah, like another 2 hours on top of that. So it's quite tough. Like, I do see people playing Inverness. Obviously, Inverness has like the Ironworks, which is a pretty decent sized venue. But in terms of small bands, it's quite tough to get people to come up sometimes, unless you're waving lots of cash in front of them, which I don't have.
So would you say sort of wanting to be involved in sort of a thriving music scene and not potentially having that in Thurso, do you think that was one of the reasons why you moved to Edinburgh?
Oh, definitely. I mean, I didn't always want to be a promoter or a manager. Believe it or not, I did plan an actual career once. I was going to be in the police.
Oh, really?
Can you imagine? And then I just kind of thought, like, I was like 18 at the time or 19, and I just thought, I'm really passionate about music. It's something that I'd love to do. So I just remember Googling music business courses in Scotland, and then I found Edinburgh College, and then that was it. That's pretty much 6 months later. I just sat my mum and dad down. I was like, yeah, I think I'm going to move to Edinburgh. They were like, are you sure? I was like, yeah, why not? So about 6 months later, I just went. That was it.
Nice one. So what was their initial reaction then when you were saying yours?
My mum will be watching this. No, I mean, they were really supportive. But obviously, I mean, it's quite a shock going from I want to be in a proper career like the police, where you're making a good wage and it's
not fluctuating like in the music industry. Yeah, exactly.
And then to go, you know what, I want to move to a city that I've never lived in. I have no money and no plan beyond that. But no, they were really, really supportive, and they still have continued to be supportive, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, they put us up while we were gigging, so
That's
supporting
true,
us. I can't fault them there.
Yeah, God, how many of us was there at the house that weekend?
There was five of us,
five,
and then you,
plus
and
me.
Your parents didn't stay there. So.
I know, I kicked my parents out.
Yeah, like, where did they go?
They went up to my granny and granddad's.
That felt so bad. That was really bad
for them. But yeah,
they should have even bought us drinks as well. Like when we were in there, there was like buying us drinks, help yourself to anything in the house, and sleep there. And they
my mum was like, "Oh, I've bought loads of sausages and bacon and
that
stuff."
was a huge fry up,
Yeah, God, yeah, that was a great weekend.
That was a quality weekend.
Yeah, because I think when we went into it, it was like the drive took a lot out of you, and by the time you got there, you were we were tired, and nothing had even happened yet, and then it was so much better than expected. Like after, like the whole, like, you know, it's such a small place, and there was a laugh, and everyone was friendly, and the gig was good. You know, the gig was actually really good. Yeah, it was a good gig. Yeah.
Obviously, there's a couple of bands you mentioned as well were playing that night as well, like Open Plan and that. They were on the bill as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great night. Like I say, like when there's something on, people do come out for it. It was a great turnout. It was a great night. Like people still talk to me about that night, and I think I brought Kendama up a week or two before that. Yeah, and people still say that to me. Still say how much they enjoyed like those nights, and when am I bringing back another band, or you know, it just shows you that people in Caithness do actually enjoy other people coming up and playing in front of them.
Socialising.
You know? Socialising beyond going to our only nightclub and seeing the same people every weekend. You know,
but that's good to hear though. Like as a sort of aspiring promoter, that's what you want to hear though, I suppose.
Oh yeah, like it's amazing to hear, and it really does make me appreciate people coming out and stuff. And then, like I say, even people just saying to me how much they enjoyed it is amazing. But I don't think that I could be a fully fledged promoter in Caithness. I think it would just be too difficult.
Too much of a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of need to be here to sort of have my finger on the pulse and sort of know who's playing and
who's up and coming.
Who's up and coming, and actually trying to build a relationship with an artist before you try and say, oh, do you want to come on a 280-mile drive to play one gig? So I think if I didn't know you guys beforehand, it probably would have been quite hard to convince you to come all the way up there.
Was that through Perth? Was that through...
No, that was You got involved, mind with there was recorded a single through in Edinburgh College, mind.
yeah.
And then
yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
that was
throwback.
ages ago.
Yeah,
That was
it's ages ago, yeah.
like 2 years ago.
that would have been high.
Easily,
2 years
yeah.
ago, yeah.
Oh man.
But obviously, staying on the topic of Edinburgh College, you started studying there. Just want to talk about the ins and outs of your course, try and big it up as much as you can.
Yeah, like I absolutely loved Edinburgh College. Like I've made some of my best pals from Edinburgh College. So I studied music business, obviously, which essentially covers every base of the music industry, and some in great detail, some in kind of bits and pieces. But it was a great introduction for me coming down to the city and never having worked in music before. That sort of first week at college where I was learning about PRS, PPL, all that kind of stuff, and I had never even heard of most of that before. It was amazing. I miss Edinburgh College all the time. If they'd have done a degree course at Edinburgh College, I probably would have.
Hint, hint. There you go.
I probably would have stayed there.
So is it just a HND or is it HNC?
HND.
HND, right.
Yeah, so it was a 2-year course there, and then up to Perth to finish it off.
The
But
Holy Land, the Graceland.
the Holy Land, yeah.
But actually, obviously, when you were studying at Edinburgh, you started up your own sort of promotions company, Gigmouth.
Yep.
Just want to talk a wee bit about that?
Yeah. So I kind of started it as it was my college project. You know, it was my graded unit project. I kind of thought, what can I do that I'm really interested in and won't take too much effort? And I was like, I'll start a blog. Like, that's really easy. Then I remember getting a talk from someone that came to visit college. I can't remember who it was now, but they'd mentioned starting a blog and how it got them into loads of gigs for free and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, that sounds pretty good to me. So I was like, it's quite a good platform to promote people that I'm listening to. I mean, I'm not a very good writer in any way, shape or form. Like, my English is pretty poor. But it kind of developed from there, from just being a blog. And then I was like, well, you know what, I could probably then put on these bands that I'm talking about. So I put on a couple of gigs in Edinburgh, turned into promotions thing. And then it's evolved, got arms and legs since then, doing bits of management, an attempt at photography, that sort of stuff, yeah. It's amazing.
So obviously you started up that, doing writing reviews, obviously getting yourself into gigs, putting on gig nights and things like that.
Yeah.
So how difficult is it to do that in Edinburgh compared to doing it in Thurso and Caithness and things like that?
You know, it's a lot more competitive in terms of especially promotions and trying to book gigs, trying to get bands on side and stuff, try and get bands that you're both going to get something out of it, you know, because you hear about a lot of sort of cowboy promoters that are just in it for money. You hear a lot of people who do it and make no money, and it's trying to find that balance is really hard, but it's very competitive. All the bands have their favourite promoters, all the bands have their least favourite promoters, you know. But it's something I really enjoy, so I'm not too bothered about making too much money out of it. Like, I always I hear a lot of different things about people enjoying ticket splits and not enjoying ticket splits and things, but you should never have an artist on your bill and then not pay them. Like, that's just so wrong. Like, I would never take money myself if I wasn't giving money to an artist.
That's a good thing to hear. I mean, obviously not all promoters are like that, but I mean, it's good to hear coming from you anyway. That's sort of how you feel about it. Yeah,
I like to think all the artists that I've worked with previously are quite happy with how they've been treated, how shows have gone.
I think it's that process of like the gig wouldn't go on without you getting the gig, and the gig wouldn't go on without the band playing, so that's why it needs to be a split almost.
Yeah, it should be
fair.
A mutual thing where you're both getting something out of it. Like, it should never be so heavily one way. And in terms of promoting it as well, I think that it sort of falls on both shoulders as well. Like, the band should be trying to sell tickets and trying to push tickets, but also the promoter should be doing everything they can to try and sell tickets. Like, I hear about a lot of promoters that basically just say, we'll give you a ticket split. They maybe post something once, and then for 4 months there's nothing. And then it's like 20 people turn up for the gig and they're like, oh well, So there you go. There's your fiver. There's your fiver between five of you. You know.
Played a few gigs like that.
Yeah, I mean,
not with you obviously, but
nah.
we've done that in the past.
I hear that from a lot of people, and it's so disheartening. Like, don't get me wrong, you do get shows where it just all goes wrong. Maybe a band pulls out, or people just don't turn up and stuff. But try and avoid that as much as I can. You know. Yeah.
So I mean, would you say obviously having that sort of that mindset of if the band aren't getting paid, then I won't take as much of a cut. Do you think that's why you build such a good relationship with so many bands?
Possibly, yeah. I mean, it's like I said, it's a business about building relationships, and my boss Olaf will tell me that every single day how important it is about building relationships. But it's definitely about building, like I say, I would never take money from myself if I wasn't giving money to artists. I'd prefer to take a loss myself and give the artists 20 quid. Like, if it was a disastrous show that nobody turned up for, I'd still prefer to give them something, even if it just covered their travel, and then just take a loss myself. I've done that plenty of times. Like, I've walked away like £100 down and stuff, just like, oh man, it's not for me. And it's really disheartening, but I think it does keep my relationship with a lot of artists pretty good, which is important.
So obviously you're saying building good relationships with bands, they're developing quite a roster of people that you've worked with. So how many gig nights would you say you've put on since you've moved to Edinburgh?
Not too sure actually, because I do a lot of work with Katie at Underground Sounds. I'm not going to take credit for any of her shows because she's amazing at what she does, and she's an absolutely fantastic promoter, but I always help her out with anything she needs. But in terms of Edinburgh shows, I mean, I've not been that many. I mean, this was going to be my year that I was going to sort of be a proper promoter. I had sort of 2 or 3 shows a month booked in Edinburgh and Glasgow, where I was just going to pretty much every weekend be promoting a show. And then the cursed COVID just fucked it, didn't it?
Well, I mean, so how did you get into the Glasgow sort of scene then? What venues did you get in contact to get gigs on there?
Oh God, test my memory. 13th Note is a nice wee venue. It's 100 cap maybe, and it's nice and cheap to rent. You know, you get a bit of stuff included. You need to get your own backline and stuff, but
that's the one that's like downstairs.
Yeah. It's a nice place actually. They have lots of vegan wine if you're into that sort of thing. But that was going to be my plan, you know. Glasgow's somewhere I've not really ventured into working with a lot. I mean, I work with a few Glasgow-based artists, but in terms of promotions, I've never put a show on in Glasgow. This year was going to be the first time. I had my first show in Glasgow booked for either February or March. It was going to be part of the Ravelas tour.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then it was on the Friday night that we went into lockdown. That's when it was booked for. So that was going to be my first Glasgow show.
Perfect timing, that.
Yeah, really good timing. Yep.
So obviously you were saying about Olaf, was it?
Yeah.
Was that Wide Days?
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with working with Wide Days then?
Turning up to their events. There you go.
Just shaking hands and.
Honestly, it actually is. Like say, Olaf talks about the importance of building relationships and stuff, and turning up for these things, because that is where you meet people. I mean, it's all right sort of following people and interacting with them online, but actually meet them in person and building that relationship is so important. I think I first met Olaf at the Wide Days Christmas party in 2017. When I first moved here, we got invited to it through the college, and I hadn't even been to a Born to Be Wide or Wide Days or Off the Record or anything before that. I think it was on a Thursday night, and a few of us went to Spoons.
Not anymore.
Not anymore, scumbags. But so a few of us went to Spoons beforehand and had quite a few drinks, and then went along to this Christmas party. I didn't really know what to expect, and then just kind of chatting to people at a party, and then this guy with this big white bushy hair sort of came over. I was blazing, we just sort of chatting, and didn't have a clue who he was, didn't have a clue who anyone was. And then it was off the record on the Saturday then, like 2 days later. And then he walked on stage and he was like, I'm Olaf, like I run Off the Record and White Days. And I was like, oh shit, what have I done? I was like, what did I say to him? I was like, I don't have a clue what I've just done. But straight away he came over and started chatting to me and was asking me how I enjoyed my night and stuff on Thursday. And then sort of ever since then he was intrigued that I was from Thurso. I think he'd visited a few years ago, and but yeah, ever since then it was just like we just sort of kept in touch. And then I volunteered at the next Off the Record, just like I say, built that relationship with them. And then they just asked me like, do you want to come into the office, do a few bits and pieces, and that was February last year. Now it's been over a year since I've been there.
Nice one. So would you say getting your foot in the door there is just taking any opportunity you can that you're offered?
Yeah, definitely. I think if you want to be involved in the business side of it, then you have to put yourself out there and be in a place where you're going to meet someone you don't know who could potentially be a contact, who could potentially be someone that you're going to work with, even if you don't know who that person is yet.
Yeah.
I mean, I met some great people through even that first Off the Record, like I say, Olaf, and that's where I first met like Chris Beltran from DF Concerts.
King Tut's is sort of his stomping ground there.
Yeah, like Talabrash from Skinny Magazine. Who else? The guys from the 101. Don't know if you remember them. They're a great band from Aberdeen. But yeah, just put myself out there, and that first Off the Record for me was my first sort of interaction with people who are actually in the business, and it was fantastic. Like,
yeah, I suppose it's the same as they say to like musicians, like when you're doing a gig, like more experienced musicians would tell me when I was younger that like play as if like you don't know who's in the audience.
Yeah.
Like, so play to, obviously always play to your best ability, but like there could be someone there that gives you a chance, and it's the same thing with you meeting people. It's like just talk to them as if, you know, talk to everyone you possibly can, any opportunity you get.
Yeah, totally.
And it works. Well,
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah, I think it's so important. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes you go to a gig or you go to an event and you just can't be fucked speaking you can't be bothered speaking to everybody, you know, and that's fair enough, but sometimes you have to just sort of put yourself out there a bit, and I'm quite guilty of not doing that sometimes, and Olaf gives me a row for it a lot. But quite rightly so, because I mean, if he didn't kind of push me like that, then I probably wouldn't be in the position I am just now. So
So would you say that's been like extremely beneficial for you then? Just
yeah, totally. Like the people I've met and sort of the experience that I've gotten through Born to Be Wide Days, and then obviously we've got Off the Record this year. Experience I've got through that, I don't think I could have gotten anywhere else. Like, even if I was sort of going out on my own and trying to do my own sort of business stuff, I don't think I would still be in the place that I am. I kind of look at my CV and I look at all the stuff that I've done on Wide Days, and it's just sort of listed out, and I'm like, you know what, that's actually quite a lot of stuff. Like, I think about it and it's just sort of time passes so quickly, but then I actually look at it written down, I'm like, shit.
It's good to remind yourself of those things as well. You know, if you're feeling a bit shit, then just like read what you've done. You know, and then
I know. I feel like I'm talking myself up. I hate doing it, man.
You've got to. So, for the people that don't know what the events that Wide Days put on, and sort of Off the Record, do you want to describe it as best you can for those who don't know?
Yeah, I suppose we'll start with Wide Days. It's the big one. So it's essentially a music business conference that's usually set over 3 days in TV Row House in Edinburgh, and it also has sort of showcase artists around it, and we usually have festival takeovers where we have loads of artists from different festivals. They come in, and there's a whole massive program over 3 days where we take international guest speakers as well as sort of British guest speakers, and we cover pretty much every topic known to man, from collection societies, making money from your music, promoting your music, to even sort of music law. And this year we had Olaf's Pride and Joy was a panel called Martial Artists, which is artists who are also highly trained in martial arts and how they balance music.
Many of those.
There was actually quite a few, yeah. Like it was actually a really interesting panel, and yeah, we just they try and cover pretty much everything they can. You know, it's a great 3 days. I'd really recommend it when it's actually back properly. It's amazing, and even our online event this year was amazing too. And yeah, like I say, we have showcase artists and stuff too. Our showcase artists this year were Swim School, Capeel, Billy Got Waves, Scout, Memes, and was it 5 or 6? Oh god. Well, I think that my memory, man. But
that one band that you've not mentioned,
yeah,
for your throat.
Oh man, I'm so sacked. But yeah, it's amazing. Like the people that I meet through it is so cool. Like Stevie Wonder's manager is one of Olaf's best pals. Like I always think that's such a name drop, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, watch your feet there.
Yeah. But yeah, Wide Days is so good, and then Born to Be Wide is kind of like a mini version of it, where we do sort of monthly or bi-monthly panels at Edinburgh, Edinburgh Uni, sort of student places, and it's just a chance to come along and meet people, just get a crack and have quite it's more relaxed than Wide Days, I'd say, where you can kind of just have a drink and chill out a bit, and we have a DJ set and stuff afterwards. And so that was kind of my main responsibility last year, was running the Born to Be Wide nights, which was pretty tough at times. Yeah.
So you feel like you were getting chucked in the deep end then trying to organise that?
Definitely. I mean, sometimes I'm my own worst enemy. Sometimes, like, I think procrastination gets the better of me quite a lot. But I wouldn't really have it any other way, because seeing the results after what we did last year with Born to Be Wide was amazing. So good. And then, yeah, again, I look at my CV and I'm looking at all that stuff written down, and it's like, right, I'm actually really proud of that, you know. And then Off the Record as well. God, I feel like I'm going on forever here. Off the Record is kind of like the little brother of Wide Days, where it's aimed at people who are between 16 and 25, trying to break into the industry, and we try and make it, the speakers and the panels, about stuff that are more relevant to people of that age, and we want to show who else is working in the industry, so we try and get the speakers to be sort of around that age as well, so that people can sort of relate to it, which we're in the process of arranging Off the Record right now. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say about it. Not that heavily involved with it, but it's going to be really fun. It's going to be really fun.
Because I went to one of the Off the Record days, and it was really good. I mean, there was the guest speakers kind of went on near enough all day, and there was loads of different workshops, like you were saying. They covered about music law as well, which I wasn't expecting to sort of be hearing, which was good as well, because it's an insight as well into things that you're not obviously aware of, or necessarily aware of, as like sort of young artists or up and coming bands or whatever. Yeah,
I think it's definitely an important part of it, because there's a lot of artists who just aren't as aware of sort of the business side of it, and it's, I mean that's why you get a manager and stuff, but it's always good to know as much as you can about every aspect of music, from contracts to signing any kind of deal. You know, you need to know what you're doing, so it's really important that artists, even though they might think, you know, that's not very relevant to me, like just let my manager or whatever deal with that, you still need to know what you're doing.
So otherwise, on that topic of, like, you mentioned collection societies and like PRS and PPL and things like that, a module in my course at the moment is we're doing is music industries, and we've got to do a report on like sort of what is copyright. And I feel like we had a guy from PRS came in and talked to us over Zoom, but he, obviously I didn't know much about being an original artist, and I didn't know much about PRS before, like specifically PRS, because it was for live stuff. And I asked a few questions along the lines of, like, you know, because obviously they're solely to support the artist, but as a promoter, what do you view PRS as? Like, what is your opinion on PRS, not as an artist, as a supporter, seeing as they're not there to help you
I think, like I said earlier, I think that it's so important that we all try and help each other out. And to be honest, I don't really mind paying PRS money for having artists. I mean, even if I pay an artist for a show, I don't really care about then giving something like 7% of the ticket sales to PRS that then goes back to the artists eventually. Yeah. That doesn't bother me in the slightest. I think it's necessary, especially in times like just now where there's not live money really kicking around. There's an opportunity for people who have played shows in the past to backdate it and then make money from shows they've played. I don't really think the money is particularly substantial. No, but I mean, it's an avenue income.
Yeah, because I asked again the same question. It was like, if the band is a member of PRS and they ask and they do a gig and then sort of the promoter later finds out, or the venue later find out, and the next time you go to book a gig, they're going to be more hesitant to get you in because you're a member of PRS. But it's like, venues sort of pay blanket fees now to cover their thing. But yeah, I find it, like you said, you found that really interesting, and I literally had no clue, and I feel like that's really important as an artist, especially an original artist, to know about the benefits that PRS can give you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking into it at the moment, but I didn't know how promoters sort of viewed that. But it's good to know that you're sort of impartial there.
Yeah, like in my opinion, like I say, it doesn't bother me at all giving some money to PRS. I mean, there's some venues that actually include a PRS fee in, like, when you go to book it. When you go to book the venue, they'll actually say, this is how much you're going to have to pay in a PRS fee or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, sweet, no problem. Yeah. It doesn't bother me in the slightest. I think it's great.
That's good.
Yeah. It's good to hear venues have started doing that as well, as in like including it within contracts and things like that prior to you actually bringing a band in. But obviously, it was discussed earlier about you. This was going to be your year for gigs. Before the coronavirus pandemic kicked on. I've asked everyone that we've had on since, how have you been coping during it all?
It's been such a strange time. I'm going to try not to say it's been an unprecedented time, because if I hear that phrase one more time, I'm going to blow a gasket. If Boris tells me it's an unprecedented time one more time, I'm going to fucking lose it. But, it's been really strange. Like, I had a lot of work lined up for this year, as well as my own shows and stuff. Throughout the whole summer, I had work lined up for Ticketmaster, where I was going to be working pretty much every festival you can think of that Ticketmaster does, like Transmit, Big Weekend and stuff. I was going to be working all them.
So what would you be doing with that then?
Just sort of, I'd imagine, accreditation type stuff. It wasn't really specified at the time, but I'm not going to sneer at any work from Ticketmaster, to be honest. I got it through the college and it was going to be a really, really good summer, and then it happened, then it kicked in, But it's been strange for me. I think it's been strange for a lot of people, and I kind of suffered from that fatigue for a while, where I was just so tired of online events, watching people's live streams, listening to the same music over and over again. I don't know how you guys felt, but I just got really fatigued with a lot of stuff that's happening, and for a while I just needed to I haven't done any gig mouth stuff in maybe a couple of months, just because I just felt like I needed to withdraw myself from it a wee bit to get myself back in a clearer headspace, And it's tough because music is what I'm passionate about, but sometimes you just need to
have a bit of a breather.
Yeah, which is what lockdown's done to me. I think it's finally caught up with me, and I need to kind of rest a little bit.
What's tough there is usually when you would need a break from something, you would go to music.
Yeah.
To fill your time if you needed a break from other shit that was going on. But like when music's the shit that's going on, you take a break from it. That's kind of not a nice situation. I felt that as well, and it wasn't a really nice situation to be in.
It's like you've nothing to turn to almost. That's what I felt like. It's like,
I think that's probably the first time that's happened to me, because it's very much the same for me. Like I go to music because that's what I love, and I still do love it, but it just got to a point where I just couldn't watch another live stream. I was like, I just can't do it, you know. I'm so tired of sitting on my phone all day, every day. I'm looking at my laptop, doing college work, and then just looking at my laptop all night, watching these live streams and stuff, and I just got exhausted. I
know, especially because it sounds daft to say there was literally nothing to do, but for a little while there was nothing to do, outside. I remember even getting bored of like eating the same food and everything. It's like, 'cause you just like couldn't bring yourself to, I just can't be bothered making anything else. Just like everything seemed to be like a general fatigue at that time. Yeah. And not being able to turn to music was the thing that hit the hardest, which you understand as well.
Yeah, I totally get that. I know, it was such a strange time.
Unprecedented.
Very unprecedented. That's a good word for it, yeah.
Other dreaded the new norm. That's the other
one. Oh, Christ. I can't hear that anymore either.
Somebody should pick that up. That's quite
a
good phrase.
Yeah, good. Definitely. You know, what's it? Rethink, retrain, reboot, or whatever, you know? That's also a good one.
Rethink, retrain, resign. Fuck off.
So what was your thoughts on that then? That whole...
Oh, man. It's the fucking Tories, isn't it? Just scum with earth. Like, I don't know. I mean, I'm trying not to say anything horrendously nasty here that's going to get me on some kind of list for the rest of my life, but how anyone can have such a low opinion of artists, or from, like, not even just from music, from any kind of creative industry, how they can be so two-faced about things like that, it just blows my mind, and how anyone can continue to support them. I'd love to have a wee...
Pretty confidently as well, you know, like it's not even like they're hesitant about it, you know, they know exactly what they're doing.
Exactly.
People treat it as if it's a personality trait,
Yeah, I think they're fantastic at doing something that they're trying to get away with, and once they get caught, turning back and doing something else, you know? Yeah. Like, oh God, I hate them. It was so much, man.
It was the nicest time to see, like, I feel like that's one of the main times that everybody's supported the creatives, obviously other than the Tories, but like there's so many people I know that, I mean, obviously they're all affected by music, but like all come together, and like the amount of times I saw that like ballerina thing, like as you're scrolling, it's just post after everyone just like, that's outrageous. Yeah. And then it didn't take them long to take it down, you know, like they backtracked pretty quickly when they saw how fast everyone was having a go at them. Yeah. Rightly so. I think that's the only benefit that you can take from that, is everyone came together to say up yours to them.
Yeah, I mean, they're fantastic at backtracking, aren't they? Yeah. You know, I mean, I, embarrassingly enough, do actually know a couple of Tory voters. I'm not going to name them.
Do it.
Nah, I can't do it.
Leave their names out.
But I had a chat with one of them, and even he said that, like, the way that artists have been treated, and even just the general public have been treated, that he can't really support that. It's like, all right, it's just taking you till now to realise that they're scumbags, but you know what, at least it's gotten there eventually. But yeah, it's a touchy subject with most people.
It's only touchy if they are a Tory, I find.
yeah. So, man, it's ridiculous.
To be fair, I've found quite a lot of sort of creative arts people our age tend to not sway that way, if you get me. Like, it's kind of, I don't know if it's just a young people thing or if it's just a creative arts thing, but a lot of people hated the Tories prior to that part of a post. I don't know if that's...
I think I only know one or two people that are musicians, well, you know, they play music, that vote Tory, you know, which is still too many within the creative industry, but it's good it's only two, I suppose. Yeah,
but I don't see how anyone could support them now, to be honest. Like, not even just their handling of
throughout the whole
thing. And I think they've just gotten worse. Yeah, you know, I think they've just gotten even more malicious in the stuff that they're doing. Like, I do think that post about Fatima working in cyber, whatever cyber is, I think it is quite malicious. Yeah. Like,
she's retraining to be on Doctor Who.
Yeah. Oh man, at least it gave birth to loads of good memes. Yeah, like, that's the only upside. I think in lockdown, that's probably the only good thing. Like, We've had some great memes. You know, went through the Tiger King phase, and that was a great.
That seems like a lifetime.
That was, that was a great patch of life.
It was. That was like 5 months ago or something like that. It was ages ago.
Yeah.
TikTok's been pretty good through it as well. That's
yeah. TikTok's something I've only just gotten into.
Oh, come on, you're behind.
Just through lockdown. I mean, I'm 23 now. I'm getting quite old.
Yeah, so that's fair enough.
These kids and their TikToks and their face tubs. You know,
God, you just said that. I'm gonna look back at that, but why did I say that?
But no, I definitely think that they're just they fucked it.
Yeah,
they fucked it, and it's great to see.
Yes, it really is. Yeah.
Love to see it.
Love it.
But I mean, do you think? I know this is going way back, but do you think this is going to be sort of like it was like with Maggie Thatcher? It was like with shutting coal mines and sort of shipyards and things like that. That was when it was. After that, it was everyone seemed to be staunch Labour because they were like, well, that's bang out of order. Do you think that's going to be sort of a rebirth? Not necessarily Labour, but another party that swings another way.
I don't know, to be honest. I think
this got really political. I know that.
Yeah,
I never briefed you on this. It's just
no.
my head there.
I think it was going to be a really tough few years because this is just fuel in Nicola's independence vote. You know, I think the way that Tories been handling it, that now this is going to cause even more rifts between England and Scotland, and it's going to be such a strange time over the next couple of years because people are going to want to be independent, which is then going to cause even more division. I mean, not going to get into an independence thing here, but like, I just think it's going to be a weird time.
The thing that worries me, I don't think it's going to be is the same sort of situation as Thatcher's, because I don't think people, especially our age group, like they're up on politics, but they're more confused. As like, I know so many people who are just sort of like, I don't know who to vote for. You know, it's that sort of like, they're all the same, don't know who to vote for sort of thing, and end up just not voting.
Yeah.
You know, and rather than, you know, that was bang out, let's go hard, like staunch Labour or something like that. I think there's much more hesitation because there's so many more resources to be misled from. Like via the media and everything like that. And I don't know. I do think it will feel independence, specifically from the people who were already independent, already for independence.
Yeah.
And I do know quite a few people who have, you know, I don't know if converted's the right word, but you know, changed over to
jump ship.
Yeah, that's we need this now. And I even have family in London, who I mean aren't like Westminster, but they're like, if they could have like an independence from Westminster, they were like, we want it too. It's like they're like, sort of take it.
Start an independent Tory state.
Just give them that little square.
Give them a plot of land and they can just roam free themselves, you know.
So staying political, but veering back to music slightly, how much do you think Brexit will impact sort of the music industry within the UK?
Who knows what the fuck Boris is up to again, you know.
It's a recurring theme.
Yeah, exactly.
He doesn't know what he's up to.
Nah, he doesn't have a clue. Like, I think it's going to be weird in terms of touring artists. I mean, for the sort of bigger promoters who are taking people over or are putting artists out into Europe, it's going to be very strange. I don't know exactly how it's going to affect them because I'm not very up to date with kind of what is actually going on with Brexit right now, to be honest.
Who is?
Like it's another thing of that where I've just been so exhausted with everything that I've just kind of turned off from a lot of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, for touring artists and stuff who are looking to go internationally, I've heard it's going to be pretty catastrophic.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's definitely happening or not, but I mean, I heard there was talk of, if you were being a touring artist, there was talk of needing to have a visa to come into the UK and then go out of the country as well.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, which is going to probably have to be done like 6 months in advance. Which
and even
is,
then, it's a lot of the time it is just like off the cuff. It's like 2-3 months before rather than a big sort of preparation where you can.
Yeah, that in between of like fame and then not big at all, that right in the middle where you're getting touring gigs around Europe, they're not like months in advance. It's sort of like, right, there's a quick gig in Germany or something like that, you know, and they'll go, I mean, they're still like big gigs, but they're not that planned ahead.
Yeah.
And that they're non-existent. I mean, the 3 or 4 people I know from sort of Dunfermline and Fife who do a lot of gigs in Poland and Germany and just in Europe in general. That's not only is that completely buggered, obviously due to COVID, but they're sort of like completely out of a job, and they know that's going to hit them hard, and they're like, we don't really know what to do. That's their only income is from like European tours, and neither them nor the artist who employs them can afford to pay for a visa for them for every country they go into.
Yeah.
Which is just catastrophic for them, and how many people that'll eventually affect.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we're gonna see some kind of underground scene where we've got people just like coming
like
up.
illegal raves again.
Yeah, you know, who knows? We're gonna get people just being like, "Oh, I'm just going on
illegal tours,
a quick
illegal
weekend."
folk covers.
Yeah, so when you get there, you're here for work or just a holiday, and you're like, holiday,
with guitars and amps and shit. Like, we're just here on holiday, I swear. But that could be fun. Who knows? You know,
interesting.
But yeah, it's a nightmare, as is everything else.
Yeah. It's just the worry and the uncertainty is a huge thing.
So far, the positives we've taken out of this are memes and TikTok.
Yeah.
That's like everyone
And
else
folk
is
raves.
fucked.
That's about it. That's as much positives as you can over the last few months, you know.
But I mean, I think that's the good positives we can take from this podcast. You happy to round up there, boys?
Yeah, let's go for it. Yeah.
Perfect. Aye, so thank you for joining us again.
No problem.
And thank you everyone that's tuned in and this far into the podcast. Really appreciate it. Be sure to like and subscribe.
All the 6 people that have made it this far, thanks a lot.
Well,
Hi, Mum.
hi, Gran. But thanks again for joining us, boys. I really appreciate it. Cheers.
No problem.
Cheers, thank you.